cool for my blood.
A little cool for my blood also. I spent a couple years up there in Green Bay, Wisconsin, but I've got acclimated to that southern weather all over again.
Yeah, you think it's time to put the heater on when it dips below 80. Dan Haydenfeld will kick it deep to either Jamal Fobbs or Terrence Richardson. Also Marcus Jones back deep. Jones closest to you, 31-0. Oklahoma State has a whole lot of work to do. This is Fobbs from the 2. You know, over the years, Nebraska has been so prolific offensively and outstanding on defense. What has often been lost has been the special teams play. They are always terrific in the kicking game. B.J. Tiger started the game. You can tell he's fired up. Most of the second quarter, Ben Bowling took the snaps, but B.J. Tiger will begin here in the third quarter. You're Bob Simmons. What do you tell your team down 31-0 at halftime?
Well, you tell your team, hey, we need to rally. We need to try to come back, and if we don't come back and win the game, let's do some positive things to take into the next game next week.
Fobbs lines up in the I. Kevin Brown is the fullback. And they give it to Fobbs, and Fobbs has a big opening. Fobbs caught from behind at the 50-yard line easily. The biggest play offensively for Oklahoma State today. Keel Craver got him from behind.
You know, this offensive line started playing great going into halftime. They just opened up a nice hole, and it's all the speed of Jamal Fobbs to get through the hole and the burst downfield. And that's some great catch-up speed by Keel Craver there.
Brown gets that big body moving through, and he'll get 6 yards. Tony Ortiz, Carlos Polk make the tackle. Our halftime numbers, look at this, passing yards. Oklahoma State was 0 for 5. They didn't have any. And in terms of rushing, they were limited to 45 yards. They wanted to come in, Keith, and run the football. That hasn't happened.
You know, they wanted to win the time of possession, and that would keep them in the game, but they're behind right now.
Got 2 good runs to start the third quarter, and Jamal Fobbs lowers his pad level and gets to about the 41-yard line. He's going to be about a yard or so shy of where he needs to get.
When you have great programs, Drew, and you go in at halftime of games and you get in the locker room, the coaches most of the time do not have to say anything. It's the players that are around. Bob Simmons will look at them, and the leaders on his team will say, hey, we've got to go out there and we've got to quit embarrassing ourselves, and we've got to put some points on the board.
Third and a long 1. Counter to Fobbs. He gets a good block. Now he's run out of room. Craver's there again. Ralph Brown, both corners. Nebraska just runs so well that when you think you have an opening, a lot of times you don't.
You know, this Nebraska defense that has speed. You're talking about 2 great defenses, but when you watch Nebraska, they go Julius Jackson, he strings it out. You got Keel Craver, who's done a great job of coming up and tackling, and it looks like it's big holes there. There's going to be big plays, but they don't get there, and they do a great job of tackling in that secondary of Nebraska.
And Oklahoma State will punt. Craver's back at his own 10.
Dead ball, false start on the offense, remains 4th down.
Oklahoma State came out, got the big run from Fobbs, got a decent play on 1st down. Kevin Brown picked up 6 yards, but then they couldn't convert. This is another short punt by Elder off the side of his foot. It's down at the 20-yard line. Punt just 27 yards. His last one went 24 yards. Eric Crouch had a big first half. He'll lead Nebraska back onto the field. And you can see his confidence growing with each start he gets.
He's throwing the ball pretty well. When you look 6 of 11, he probably still have a nice quarterback rating so far in the game for 109 yards. He's doing a great job there. But I bet you the coach told him at halftime, you keep doing what you're doing. If you see something you want to throw the ball, go ahead and audible and make it happen.
Willie Miller breaks a tackle for a moment and then gets just a couple of yards. He'll start in the backfield with Dan Alexander.
That Willie Miller's a load. You never see that first guy just bring him down to the ground, and that's the way you want your fullback to be, and that's the way the fullbacks have been here in Nebraska. They've had the ability to run the ball, and also they're great blockers, and he's just one of those guys who have been in a long line of great fullbacks.
He's a good student also, 3.4 in the classroom, communications major. And Bobby Newcomb back onto the field. Here's Crouch keeping. And he gets a couple of yards, and then a flag comes in late.
Looks like that Oklahoma State's a little frustrated right now. I can see one of the guys holding their arms up in the air like, I didn't do it. And usually that means that they took a swing at somebody.
Terry Turlington will let us know.
Dead ball, personal foul on the defense, 15-yard penalty. That's an automatic first down.
Well, Rob Ryan's a fiery guy, and he knows that to play defense, you have to play on the edge.
Well, you know, he's probably not too upset about that. He's probably going to the sideline and say, you should have done it a lot earlier. You guys are not playing as aggressive. That came out of that family, that Ryan family. They love to be aggressive. They get a 15-yard penalty. That's part of the game.
Yeah, not always a bad thing, huh?
No.
Crouch on a throwback. He's got Wistrom again. Another big play for Tracy Wistrom, his 4th catch of the afternoon.
When you have a great running game, when you have a terrific running game and you run the ball inside, outside well, then the thing that you can do is you can run play-action passes. And here's the play-action pass. He has the ability to look back across and throws back to his big tight end, Wistrom, who takes the ball downfield, breaks a tackle. He took 170 yards last year, so he has the ability to get in the open field and make some plays happen.
He took that one 36 yards. With a flag down, gets about 13 to the 11. But a flag came in at the 20.
And usually when a flag's that far downfield, somebody was holding on a little bit too much, had a little cloth. But that was a great run by Crouch, but it was a great open hold. The offensive line is doing a great job. I tell you what, the fullback is doing a great job.
That's illegal participation against Oklahoma State. They might have 12 men on the field. And it might have been Flowers. I think he was trying to get off the field.
On the defense, the penalty is declined. First down.
Well, today you need 12 people to stop this Nebraska offense.
And if Rob Ryan could keep 12 guys on the field, he'd go for that.
Coach Simmons not happy about that. You know, that's one of those mistakes you just don't make. You don't have 12 guys on the field. You don't hurt yourself anymore on a play like that. You know, something's going to happen physically, but that's not a physical mistake.
Bob Simmons, Oklahoma State had such high hopes for this year, and obviously the season's still very young. Well, they lost Tony Lindsay. That hurt. They had 18 senior starters to begin the campaign. This is Miller. He's still chugging away. Oh, the crowd will love this run.
That is vintage Nebraska football. Hard-nosed, running up in the middle, pile driving. And you know, when you see plays like that, it wasn't a big play. He didn't get a whole bunch of yards. It was the effort. And you know what? Nebraska fans love great effort. I think he got hit harder by his own offensive lineman than he did the guys from Oklahoma State. And he's still driving, trying to get the extra yards. And that's what Nebraska fans love. They love the heart of great players.
Well, Charlie McBride, the longtime defensive coordinator, says at Nebraska, we win with work ethic. That's what we're all about. Here's the pitch. Touchdown, Nebraska, Dan Alexander. His third rushing touchdown of the year. One of the big men is down. That's 69. It's Adam Jolch. That's a good sign. Jolch is getting up. And when I say big man, emphasize big, 6'5" and 320.
You know, he was hustling out there to get an extra block. I think he got his first block, and he was hustling over to get an extra block because he wants to get downfield and make something happen. You know, when you look at Adam Jolch, he's a guy who speaks for the DARE program, drug awareness program, and he's a guy as big as he is, 6'5", 320. He tells me not to do drugs. I'm not going to do them.
You bet. Josh Brown, extra point. It is 38-0, Nebraska, with 9:44 to go in the third quarter. Dan Alexander gets in the end zone, his third rushing touchdown of the year. Nebraska extends their lead to 38-0. Haydenfeld kicks it out of the end zone. So Oklahoma State will have it at the 20-yard line. Here's the touchdown again by Alexander.
It all starts with the quarterback, of course, and he comes down the line doing a great lead. The offensive linemen are doing a great job. And look at Winstrom. I called a big pass, but I'm making a great block. You got the receivers out there making great blocks. And then when you get Dan Alexander at 245-pound shoulder upfield and you only got 2 yards to get to the end zone, there's no stopping.
Tom Beveridge did a good job blocking the corner. There's our Buick scoring drive, 6 plays, 80 yards. The big play, another hookup between Eric Crouch and Tracy Wistrom. Here's Jamal Fobbs for a yard or two. Now, if you're an Oklahoma State fan tuning in, you're saying, hey, we're down 38-0. How come we're not throwing the football?
Well, the one thing that Bob Simmons wanted to do is he wanted to make sure that he could run the ball and get physical. Those guys hadn't been doing that. He's sending them a message also. He said, we're going to get physical today. We may not win this game, but we're going to get physical today. We're going to run the ball inside.
And also, you can't get completely out of character. And throwing the ball 40 times, even with Tony Lindsay healthy, is not what Oklahoma State wants to do. And they still are without a pass completion today. Ethan Howell on the outcut, the intended target. It'll be 3rd down and 9. The Cowboy possessions. That's a whole lot of punting for Scott Elder.
He's having a big-time day of punting. He gets to get the ball a lot. That's not a great thing to see if you're the offensive coordinator and you're the head coach of this team, because you thought that you could do some of the things that you did last year to stay in the game.
Three-step drop, slant, complete, 1st down yardage. It's Jamal Fobbs who lined up in the slot.
Now that secondary, Nebraska does a great job of covering, but the best cover guys are outside. What they do is they go in the slot, and you got Mike Brown covering, and he's a safety. So you got him on Richardson, who's an outstanding punt returner, and he gets the ball in the open field. He's dangerous. I wouldn't mind seeing them get the ball to Richardson a lot more.
The first completion of the day. Tiger on a scramble. And flags will fly after that. Brown got involved with Josh Lynn.
And Josh Lynn is he's trying to be aggressive. He probably got that pep talk at halftime. We want you to go out there. We want you to make some plays. Offensive lineman, you're not doing your job. You get those kind of talks, and you want to go out there and do a great job, and sometimes you get a little over-aggressive.
Here's Tiger, and the flag's going to come in at the end of the play, Keith.
Well, you thought they would call Josh Land for getting there late hitting, but they called a holding call.
Personal foul on the offense, 15-yard penalty, it is second down.
So they had to measure because it was and then mark from the point of infraction. So they marked the 15 off, and it remains second down from the 41-yard line of Oklahoma State. So even when they do something right, they end up hurting themselves.
Well, I don't know so much they did something right, Drew, because it looked like it was a busted play from the beginning, and B.J. Tiger did a great job of just taking off and using his feet.
Jackson shows blitz. They bring Ford. Tiger will run again. And he'll get to the 48-yard line. Ralph Brown will get credit for the tackle. That'll set up third down and about 6. B.J. Tiger's quite an athlete.
That's that old quarterback draw. They drop him back, make it look like he's throwing a pass, and then what he's going to do is find an open hole and take off and run. And this is the one thing that he really can do, is run with the football. And he has that ball tucked in. He made a promise that he wasn't going to fumble again this year.
Well, he carried that football to class. He carried it when he stretched. Whatever he did the last 2 weeks, he had a football in his hands, literally. B.J. short drop, slant is caught, and it'll be enough for a first down. This time it's Terrence Richardson. That was a good throw.
I tell you what, that was great coverage by Ralph Brown, too. What happens is Richardson has to push him up a little bit. You don't mind getting your ball in the hands of great players like this, but that was a tight throw and an outstanding catch by Richardson right there.
B.J. Tiger, as you look at Richardson, and there's B.J. He played hoop for Eddie Sutton in '97.
Well, he probably can elevate. You know, he wouldn't mind being a defensive back also.
He played the defensive back most of last year. Here's the reverse. Richardson gets a block. And he's knocked out of bounds inside the 5-yard line. Good block by Jeff Machado.
We talked about that you should get the ball in Richardson's hand, and they did. They finding some ways to get the ball in their playmaker's hand, and he takes this ball around the corner with an impressive run and a great block out there. But what's more impressive is Shaw is doing a great job of running down. It looked like that was going to the end zone, and you got Shaw, who weighing 220 pounds, who runs down the guy. But Machado did a great job of blocking out in open field.
First and goal, give it to Brown, and he is stood up. Tony Ortiz, number 37, the Sam linebacker, originally from the South Bronx, grew up in Westbury, Connecticut, came a long way to play his college football.
Tell you what, I bet they took that personally the last time. When you look at Tony Ortiz, he's been doing a great job, but they took that play personally. They don't want any positive yards. They want to go come out of this game and be the #1 defense in the nation, and they've been doing a great job so far.
They lost a yard on that play. Jump ball, touchdown, Marcellus Rivers. First time we've called his name all day.
When you have a tight end like Marcellus Rivers, and you think about a tight end they had here named Alonzo Mays, you think you would get the ball in his hand a lot more, because he creates mismatch for you, and that's why you want to get him the ball. He's a big target at 6'4" and 235 pounds. He's able to go up and get that ball, and that's why he came down with the touchdown on that one, Drew.
Tim Sidness will attempt the extra point. And he hooked it, but he got it through. So the Cowboys are on the board, but they trail 38-7. For Rivers, his 3rd touchdown of the year. usually around the top of the country in women's volleyball. This one's going to get past Joe Walker, get in the end zone. So Nebraska will have it at the 20-yard line. Here's the touchdown again to Marcellus Rivers.
You know, Marcellus Rivers is a great tight end. But the one thing that he can do is he can jump. He can go up and get ball. But when you have a mismatch between him and Ralph Brown out there, Ralph doesn't have a chance. He's arguably one of the best cover corners in the nation, but he doesn't have a chance against the 6'4" Marcellus Rivers.
And Rivers did a good job of just boxing him out.
That's just playing old-fashioned basketball and get the rebound.
So Oklahoma State, the Buick scoring drive, 88 yards. Crouch in trouble. Flag comes in, and Crouch is still going. How about that run? He avoided the sack. He also avoided the strip of the football and made something positive happen, but hold everything.
Well, that's the way Rob Ryan teaches. If you can go after that ball and make a positive play, go after the ball. So he did, but they didn't know that Crouch was so strong. He just pulled away from that and took off running.
Yeah, it's going to come back. There's Dominic Raiola, the center.
Well, they do a good job of getting in there, and Dominic Raiola got a handful of jersey right there. You can see it right there. He has a handful of jersey. He just let him go. And then Crouch does a great job of just avoiding the sack and taking off running. Boy, that is strong. That is strong. Then a little nifty move. He shows that he could be a tailback, and then he drops the hammer when he turns that corner.
Robbie Gillum came on a safety blitz. Thought he had the sack. He's also had the presence of mind. He was trying to strip the football, but he ended up with neither. Oh, man, what a hit Crouch took. He got rid of the football. And Alexander gets out to the 17-yard line. Crouch got blown up. Robbie Gillum was there defensively.
You know, that's the worst thing about the option is that all is fair in that war. So when Crouch comes down the line, he's available being hit. You can't say it was a late hit on the quarterback, so you can take your hit right there. But he gets the ball out, pitch relations, and the running back gets a positive gain upfield. But he took a punishment for it.
Yeah, that time Gillum made sure he wrapped him up. 2nd and 13. And Crouch will get out of bounds after about 5.
You know, the great thing is at halftime, what you can do is you can go into the locker room and say, defense, this is the game plan. This is what we're doing wrong. And then you can come out the second half and do a better job of defending the option. They're doing a better job this half of defending the option because they had a chance to go over and evaluate what they were doing wrong at halftime.
That helps. There's Matt Davison. You know, he's caught a pass 20 straight. Doesn't have a reception yet today. That's knocked down, and they were trying to get it to Davison there. Kevin Williams got a big mitt up in the air, and Nebraska will be forced to punt.
It's great to have those guys that are 6'5" because they can get their arms up in the passing lane, and that's what happened on that play with Kevin Williams.
Terrence Richardson back at his own 35-yard line. The nation's #2 punter, Dan Haydenfeld, came in averaging better than 48 yards a boot. Oh, this one, he got off the side of his foot. Takes a good hop for him, out of bounds at the 39-yard line. That's where Oklahoma State will have it when we return. Left in the third quarter, 38-7, Huskers. Let's take a look at our Citgo You Know Me. I hold the Nebraska records for most offensive attempts in a game and most yards in terms of punt return yardage in a season. Who am I? We'll let you know in a little bit. Tiger trying to hook up with Fobbs, and the free safety Clint Finley had the coverage. This black shirt defense is tremendous. Terrific secondary, veteran group. And they have 4 good defensive tackles for Charlie McBride. Kaiser, Warren, Jason Lohr, who's not playing today because he has a bursa sac problem in his knee, and Jeremy Schlechter. Actually, Lohr is in there. Simmons on the delay gets 8. Lohr wasn't scheduled to play, but he is in there playing. They like his ability. And the defensive rankings, look, coming into this football game, the Cowboys and the Huskers were 3 and 4 in the country.
That is strong, but coming out of this game, there's going to be some change of who's top dog, because Nebraska's been playing well, but when you look at Oklahoma State, they've had a difficult time with that option of Nebraska.
Nebraska said they were motivated by those numbers coming in. Here's Simmons. He'll be very close to a first down. Julius Jackson there defensively, number 50. Charlie McBride was telling us yesterday, said, I didn't have to remind my kids this week that they were 1 notch ahead of us in the national rankings defensively.
And you know, one thing about it is that the offense got a little offended about that too. You see it out here today. You're saying, wait a minute, these guys think they're good. They're going to have to stop us. And you know, they practice one-on-one. Charlie McBride said they practice one-on-ones during the week. So when you're practicing against really a talented defense like you're on at Nebraska, then when you get up against Oklahoma State, their defense doesn't seem as tough as they really are.
Yeah, a lot of schools won't do that, but about 12 snaps a week on Wednesday, the first team O will take on the first team D. And Charlie kind of chuckled yesterday, says, you know, we can't go any more than 12 because it can get ugly. Guys start getting real physical.
And he also said they lose sometime. So, you know, that's saying that the offensive linemen of Nebraska do a great job.
And the Cowboys have been held to 186 yards thus far by the black shirts. Tiger all kinds of time. Jeremy Schlechter gets him from behind. That's pretty good when you have a 290-pound defensive tackle chasing down an athlete like Tiger.
I tell you what, Tiger tucked that ball. The one thing that Tiger will do is he will tuck the ball and run. He only has 1 interception this year, and that reason why is because he won't throw the ball in double coverage or throw the ball when he feels like he doesn't have the advantage.
Richardson to the top. 2nd and 7. Blitz coming. They have a screen set up, and Simmons couldn't catch it, and it's just as well because Schlechter was right in the vicinity.
I tell you, one guy was coming on that play. You hadn't heard his name for his turnovers today. That's Julius Jackson. He's done a terrific job. But when you look at Tiger, Tiger's trying to drop back. He's trying to draw the defense to him. And so Julius Jackson was a guy who got upfield, but he got grabbed a little bit. He complained to the referee. All Tiger's trying to do is trying to get back. They're trying to set up a string, so he got to wait. But you know what? Julius Jackson get there so fast, he rushes the throw.
The amazing thing about Jackson is he has 1 career start. He usually plays behind Eric Johnson, who has a knee injury. Tiger on the slant route, and it is behind Jamal Fobbs. Clint Finley had the coverage in Oklahoma State. We'll have to punt the football.
Jamal Fobbs called 8 passes last week. I mean, it was a couple of weeks ago against Mississippi State. They want to isolate and get him the ball, especially when you have 2 receivers. You take and you shift him out. What that means is they got to cover him man-to-man with like a strong safety.
Walker and Newcomb go back. It's a good punt by Elder. Punt of 48 yards, but a net of just 28. And the you-know-me question again. I hold the Nebraska records. Most offensive attempts in a game, most yards, punt returns in a season. There he is. Bobby Newcomb, who was a true freshman 2 years ago, was a dynamic player, and last year he battled through all sorts of injuries, primarily his knee, had surgery after the season.
The one thing about Bobby Newcomb is I believe that Bobby Newcomb helped the team. He made this a better team, but the one thing he did is he helped himself. I think that he has an opportunity to go to play in the NFL at the position that he's playing right now at wingback or wide receiver and be able to catch the ball and make big plays.
Terrell Buckhalter will get about 3 or 4 yards.
You know, the game sounds physical when you have Buckhalter and you have Alexander running up in there. You can just hear the pops. It's just like shoulder pads, like plack, plack, plack.
You know, now that D'Angelo Evans has quit the football team, the one thing Nebraska does not have at I-back is one of those real nifty guys that they seemingly have always had. They got a lot of guys that'll fudge you, and a quarterback that can make you miss in Eric Crouch. He's out to the 36-yard line, and they'll move the chains again for the Huskers.
I had an opportunity to see one of those backs last night, a guy by the name of Mike Rozier, and he said that this guy, Eric Crouch, can flat foot fly, and he loves seeing him run the ball. I said, Mike, but if you were back there in the I-back and you were dotting it, you could take it to the house too. And boy, it'd be nice to see a great quarterback and a speedy receiver, a speedy quarterback and a speedy running back in the same backfield.
Fullback Willie Miller. He'll get about 3 yards. You know who's in it? Left guard for Nebraska, the true freshman from Hawaii, Toniu Fanoti, who is 6'4" and 330 pounds. There he is. You know what? He won't be 18 until the Colorado game. He's 17. He might still be growing.
We told Coach Frank Solich said he may have some more weight to gain, and Coach Frank said, I hope not.
Crouch to Buckhalter. And he gets to about the 41-yard line. Evan Howell, 28, came up and made the play. You know, the pipeline at Nebraska, generally, you don't see the field until at the very earliest your junior year. Here's a guy who's a true freshman getting to play.
You know, it's hard to play as a true freshman, but when you're talented, they want to get you in the game. And what this does is down the line, if one of the offensive linemen go down, they have a guy with experience who can step in and play for the rest of the year.
3rd down and 4. Crouch cuts back, and he is cut down a yard short of the 1st down. Raymond Cato made the tackle. And Nebraska will kick it away. Our eFollett.com lineman profile of the week, center Dominic Raiola. And he started last year as a freshman. First time that happened since the early 90s. He leads the team in pancakes. We got a definition for pancakes, didn't we, yesterday?
Yeah, we did. That said when you get decleated, you have to be on your back and all 4 of your limbs have to be up in the air. And that's a pancake.
Terrence Richardson from the 12. Richardson with a seam. And a great job by Dan Haydenfeld. The flag comes in, but Haydenfeld, the punter, made the open field tackle after the long return by Richardson. And they told us that Haydenfeld isn't just a punter. He's a good enough athlete that he could actually play a position.
That's what Coach Solich said yesterday. He said, you know what? I've been thinking about what position could he play because he's so gifted.
And you know what? That was a pretty good return against maybe 12 guys.
On the kicking team, penalty is declined. 1st down, Oklahoma State.
Punt of 43 yards. Richardson brought it back 39. The Huskers firmly in control, 38-7. Drew Goodman, Keith Jackson, and Jim Knox. And speaking of Jim Knox, let's check in with Jim.
All right, hey, Drew, checking out Willie Miller on the bench. Right now they're working on his ankle. He said he heard it pop. Doesn't seem to be serious. He could go back in, but why not? They're leading by only 36 points. Also, Sonny Miller over here very concerned about Willie, but he should be all right.
Tiger deep throw, and he was behind Ethan Howell. Almost looked like Howell. He thought Howell was going to run a corner route, and Howell took it toward the post.
Yeah, you thought he was going to run a fade and go on the outside of him, and he actually went on the inside, and sometimes that happens.
Let's take a look at the Cowboys game plan and check their report card thus far.
Well, the one thing they couldn't do is hurt themselves, and they got 7 turnovers. I mean, 7 penalties. But they should have. They helped themselves in the turnover category. They have not won the possession.
Movement on the offensive line by Oklahoma State before the snap. It's going to push them back 5 yards.
Before the snap, false start on the offense, 5-yard penalty, still second down.
When you look at the time possession, it's close, but they're not winning the touchdown battle. And you know what? When you have to force Crouch to throw, he's done a pretty good job so far of throwing the ball, but he's done an effective job running, and that's what you want to stop him from doing, is running the ball today.
Yeah, Keith, he has 61 yards on the ground and a touchdown, 5.5 yards to carry, and 7 of 13, and another touchdown in the air. So he's been effective both ways. B.J. Tiger, 2nd and 15. Into Aaron Wills. Well, the Huskers game plan, I imagine they'll get a lot of high grades.
Well, when you look at the running backs, you got 2 touchdowns out of them. That is great. And you know what, Rebel Young Buck, when you go 0 for 5 in the first half, that's doing your job. And you know what, a turnover margin is not that great with a block punt, but that's okay. When you have 38 points on the board, you're not really worried about that turnover margin right now.
3rd and a dozen. And the throw to Hafferty in the flat through his hands.
Well, you got BJ. He takes his drop. It's a 3-step drop, and then he plants and he follows through and he throws the ball. He's kind of delayed, but the one thing he did, it was a good enough pass to be caught right there, and it would have been a first down. A young guy like that needs the guys around him to start making plays for him so he can get a lot more confidence.
9th punt of the day for Scott Elder. Walker and Newcomb back deep. Walker just doesn't believe in a fair catch, does he? You got to admire his courage. And a flag, several thrown right where he caught it. And you wonder if they got too close to him. Turlington listening intently. I guess this isn't cut and dried, huh?
Well, the one thing you got to figure out, did they get pushed in the back? The reason why they were close, did the guy come into them when he being Walker when he was trying to catch the ball? So the reason why they invaded his space, I guess they're trying to figure out what happened there.
And you love to see this. I know fans don't love to see it because it takes too much time. But you want ultimately the call to be right. So you want all the input you can get and then sort it out. And that is exactly what Terry Turlington, who's a veteran referee, is doing right now.
They used to just make the call. If the guy made the call, that's what it was. But now they allowed officials to come in and they help the other official out to make the correct call.
You know, you mentioned something earlier today, and you played here on a couple of occasions, that these fans are great fans, and they are for many reasons. They come out no matter what the weather conditions are. Let's see if we can pick up, we'll come back to that thought in a moment. Let's try to pick that up.
We get over a punt, and then you think with the ball being that high, taking that time and hang time, you probably think that he's going to make a fair catch, but he doesn't. And they're waiting for him to catch the ball, but they're standing around, but the ball falls a little short. And when you look at Walker, he comes up into them.
Now they'll get it straight. Here we go.
Personal foul on the receiving team. Holding on the offensive team. A buffer zone violation on the kicking team. We will have a post-possession enforcement. We will go to the end of the kick. Nebraska will be penalized half the distance to the goal. First down.
No wonder that took a while. That was a whole lot of stuff happening on one punt.
We thought it was just one play. There was a lot of stuff going on there, but they got it worked out.
Just to pick up the thought about the Nebraska fans is that not only do they come out no matter what the weather conditions are, but they are extremely knowledgeable and very respectful of the opposition. They've had a lot to cheer about today. "14 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Frank Solich's team leading 38-7. They're trying to get to 5-0. There's one goal every year in Lincoln, Nebraska. That's to win a conference championship and a national championship. That's why, though 9-4 is an outstanding record in most places, there were some that were disappointed a year ago because the 4 losses were the most they'd had in a long time.
And you know, there's a lot of teams around the nation that will take 9 wins any day of the week.
Well, after some adversity early in the season, the well-publicized departure from the program of D'Angelo Evans, the quarterback controversy, if you will, earlier in the season, Nebraska, when they take the football field, puts it all behind them, don't they?
Well, this is a machine, and you know, you read some things about it, and they're going to keep clicking no matter what happened. And that D'Angelo Evans thing, I like the fact where I read where the players made a decision, and they felt that he left them, not the team, so players can make a decision like that.
Well, here are the 98 losses. They lost on the road to Texas A&M. No shame in that. They finished 11th in the country. Texas was the first unranked team to beat Nebraska here in the last 11 years, but they finished the season 15th. And hey, they had the Heisman Trophy winner, maybe the greatest back in college football history. And then they lost to Kansas State, who some thought would win a national championship last year, including myself. And then they lost in the Holiday Bowl to Arizona. So they lost to 4 very good teams. Evidently, what has happened is that Terry Turlington has gone to the sideline, and you saw him get off the phone there. They may be rethinking the ruling that we just heard prior to the break.
Well, the one thing that you alluded to earlier is that you want to get it right. You want to get it right because it's important for both teams. Even though it's taking a little time to get it right, you want to get the right call.
And now Terry's making his way to the far side of the field. I think he wants to let Frank Solich know exactly what will transpire. We might punt this thing again.
Nebraska has elected to take an offsetting foul rather than take the football. It will be 4th and 12. Oklahoma State's ball.
Well, we'll do it all over again. What you saw earlier never happened.
When you have a dangerous punt returner like Joe Walker, you might want to try that over again just to see if he can get the ball and make something happen.
This is a much shorter punt by Elder. He did not hit it well. It does take a cowboy bounce, and it rolls to about the 15-yard line. Here's the upcoming schedule for the Huskers. One of the interesting things is that the next 2 teams, Iowa State and Texas, both have an extra week to prepare for Nebraska. And Iowa State is a tough outfit, particularly in Ames.
That game on the 13th, November 13th against Kansas State will be the game that I would love to be in the stands and watch. That's going to be a revenge game. Coaches always talk about there's no such thing as a revenge. You just watch.
Coaches may say it, players know better, right? Jeff Perino's in at quarterback. And Oklahoma State claiming that Nebraska moved.
Encroachment on the defense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
I guess not. So a free 5 35 yards for the Huskers.
Truly, Raiola shouldn't know how to just flinch his wrist a little bit yet. He hadn't learned that trick of the trade of drawing a defensive lineman off sides. And if he has, boy, that's a smart move.
Perino's waited his turn. 6'2", 210-pounder from the beautiful town of Durango, Colorado. And the fullback, Tyrone Euler, gets a few, 35. He's a redshirt freshman from Battle Creek, Nebraska. Talk about a guy in Perino that has battled and battled to get on the field. He missed 1997 and 1998 because he had 3 knee surgeries. In fact, at one point in 1998, he was a student assistant coach. But he's persevered. He said, I want to keep playing. And he's getting his opportunity. He played last week against Missouri. And finally, has to throw it out of bounds.
You know, that's a great job by Perino. A lot of quarterbacks won't do that. They try to escape. But if you're going to be tackled, just throw the ball away out of bounds and let's try it over again.
Eric Crouch, I would imagine, probably done. What a good guy. We got a chance to visit with him for a while yesterday. Bright, mature, and very talented. Perino able to extract himself from the grasp of Jaquay Thomas.
I tell you what, he doesn't get the same pitch relations. You can tell when you have a different quarterback in the game. He comes down the line. Well, right here, if there was Eric Crouch, he would turn up and pitch the ball. They get too close over there, and if he keeps trying to run over guys like that, Eric Crouch might be back in the game.
3rd down and 4. Robbie Gillum, 41, has been pretty active.
Boy, he's the guy that said that I'm just happy to be here. I'm just having a great time. You know, he didn't feel like he should be on the team or have a scholarship.
J.B. Flowers had hobbled off earlier. Gillum's played a lot of football here in the second half. And a timeout on the field with the Nebraska Cornhuskers leading 38-7 over Oklahoma State. Welcome back to Lincoln, Nebraska with Keith Jackson. I'm Drew Goodman. One of the things Nebraska wanted to get accomplished today is play good offensive football games back-to-back. They had a great game against Missouri, and they've done pretty well today against Oklahoma State.
Well, the one thing about it is that defense has been playing well. They've asked the offense to step up. And, you know, offense hadn't had a bad output, but it's just the point that it's not Nebraska output. Nebraska needs to be able to move the ball downfield, score a lot of points, and be able to rush the ball, Drew.
Well, the numbers for Eric Crouch running the football today. 61 yards. He's made so many good decisions. Not only just on the option, but throwing the football as well. Perino throws it in the flat. This is Bobby Newcomb, and Bobby pays for the quick pass, and he'll get to the line of scrimmage. That's all, and Oklahoma State will turn Nebraska away. Adam Edwards, Raymond Cato there defensively. I imagine as this season wears on, Frank Solich will come up with more and more creative ways to get number 12, The Rock.
I think there's going to be a Bobby Newcomb package that they're going to have to put in because he's so explosive. He's the guy that's going to make plays for you. And people are going to get used to seeing these old plays, and they're going to call them before they happen. So he's going to put in new stuff from week to week.
Well, before the snap, flags flew again.
Dead ball, false start on the offense, 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
There's a guy who's also more and more comfortable this year. We're talking about Crouch getting comfortable. Frank Solich, I think, is a more comfortable head coach this year. Not that he was uncomfortable a year ago, but you do have a season under your belt. He's got a good football team again to work with. Richardson run out of bounds at the 43-yard line. That's where Oklahoma State will have it. They trail by 31. By Southwestern Bell, Friendly Neighborhood Global. That's the national championship statue outside of Memorial Stadium here in Lincoln, Nebraska. You never know, they better save some room on that plaque.
They're going to have some great teams to come, and it might be one team this year. Somebody is going undefeated in college football this year.
That's your prediction?
Somebody's going undefeated.
There have been a lot of upsets. 1st and 10 for the Cowboys at their own 43. B.J. Tiger on the delay to Fobbs. And Fobbs gets about 8 or 9 before Dion Booker, the younger brother of Michael Booker, who was the #1 pick of the Atlanta Falcons back in '96. He makes the play. There's another brother connection for you.
Yeah, Booker and Booker, if he is successful as his brother, he'd be making a lot of money here very soon.
Jamal again. And Fobbs.
Yeah.
Dragged down from behind by Justin Smith.
You know, you got to start working on some things if you're Oklahoma State, and the one thing that they're working on is trying to run the ball in the middle of that field, trying to get some positive stuff to take back and look at on film and say, hey, if we would have done this the first half, we would have been successful.
Well, they got a push right now in the second half. It's 7 apiece. Only problem was the first 30 minutes, it was 31-0 Nebraska. Tiger knocked down by one of the linebackers.
That was
48
Jackson. Looked like Julius Jackson there jumped up and knocked it down.
I think it was
Maybe
Jamie
not.
Burrow, 48.
Okay.
Yeah, it was 48 Burrow.
Well, I'm just so used to seeing Julius Jackson in the right spot all the time. He's been successful. I thought they got his hand on another one. He's a guy that always been around the football. He has a knack of being around the football. You always say guys are like that. They may not be the fastest or the biggest, but they're always around the football, and that's the kind of player he is.
You bet. Reminder, next week we'll be in Boulder, Colorado. The Buffaloes and the Missouri Tigers. Minimal gain there for Jamal Fobbs. You look in the 1990s at the best records in college football. Florida State 101-13-1. Nebraska coming in 115-1. Now Nebraska also won 100 games in the 80s. First team ever to win 100 games in back-to-back decades. That is extraordinary.
And to think about the fans, the support, and all the tradition they have in this place, you know what? It's extraordinary, but it's not unbelievable because there's been great coaching and great fan support.
And by the way, in the 70s, they only won 98 games. The play clock had 0 on it, and whistles blew before the snap of the ball, though B.J. Tiger got tackled anyhow.
On the offense, remains 3rd down.
Now in the 90s, look at the point differential. Nebraska has scored 2,715 more points than their opponents, or a difference per game of 23.2 points.
That's what you call blowing a lot of people out. Those are games you don't want to be involved in. I've been involved in some blowouts before in college and in the pros, and you don't like sitting on the other sideline when some team is just racking up points on you.
Tiger fumbled it, picked it up, and on 3rd down and 3, he gets a yard.
He just looked like he took his eye off the snap then. He was trying to look downfield, trying to look over there at Howell to see if he was going to get open, and then see the one-on-one coverage, and the snap came in and just hit it.
Actually, I said 3rd and 3. Let me correct that. It was 3rd and 13, so now it's 4th and a dozen. So Bob Simmons will punt the football. Walker calls a fair catch this time and makes it at the 20-yard line. And there there's the flag again. If that's a violation of the halo, that's very difficult for a defensive player in this position, a guy coming down covering the kick, Keith, because they don't know where the football is.
They don't. I mean, they're running down, they're trying to make a tackle, and all of a sudden they see Walker coming toward them, so they know that he's coming to get the ball, and they're trying to move out of the way. They're making an effort. That's a tough call when you're on punting team.
Buffer violation, 5-yard penalty. First down.
Because he was set up right there, and then he all of a sudden sprints forward about 6 yards. Yeah, they're giving him room. They're backing away. Clearly, that's a tough break. Obviously, it's there's no bearing on the outcome of this game. That's very, very difficult for a guy covering a punt. Perino hands to the fullback. And a couple of tough yards for Dan Alexander. Dan Alexander plays I-back now, but he was recruited as a fullback.
You know what? If you can get Alexander and Buckhalter in a game at the same time, then you got both your starting back. It's going to come down to that one day where you want to see them both in there. But the thing that happened is that Willie Miller got hurt early in the game. That is their starting backfield. You look at both of them, they're co-starters at running back.
And Alexander's playing fullback right now. Buckhalter's playing the I-back. And Buckhalter gets the call, and he runs into Jack Golden. And Golden, the senior from Harvey, Illinois, makes a good tackle.
They have a starter at I-back. I think both of those guys are going to share time all year long. They're going to make plays happen. But if you can put Dan Alexander at that fullback spot every now and then and let him get one of those fullback traps, I tell you, that's going to be a positive game.
3rd and 5. Perino gets maybe a yard. Zach Warner. 97, also Jack Golden around the football. And Nebraska will go 3 and out.
We talked a little bit to Rob Ryan. He said, you know what, I got a great group of linebackers, but I don't care what you say. It is difficult when you have to do without your leader on defense, and that's Kenyatta Wright. He's the guy that made plays for him to happen. And when we talked to Rob was saying, no, everybody can do this. The only difference is that the other guys can't change the formation.
Terrence Richardson from the 30. Trying to get to the wall. Dion Booker made the tackle at the 36-yard line, a punt of 40 and a return of 6. Here's the upcoming schedule for Oklahoma State. They have Texas Tech next week at home. Then they have a bye week, and then they have Kansas State at home. And then they have to travel to College Station.
I tell you what, it doesn't get any easier for them. I mean, they got a lot of tough games. They were a great team last year that lost a lot of close games. They've got to go back and they've got to re-huddle and try to figure out what happened here today.
Ben Bowling in at quarterback. We saw him in the second quarter. And the delay to Fobbs. Mark Vedral with the tackle.
Run down on the play by number 9, Mark Vedral.
Well, I don't think there are any easy games in the Big 12. Bowling in the first half was 0 of 4. Tigers' 3 completions have all come after halftime. Tiger has the 1 touchdown pass to Marcellus Rivers. That is caught. Ethan Howell had to pick it off his ankles to hang on.
Well, the one thing Bowling wanted to do was get that goose egg off of his completions, and he did that. But he drops back here, and he's looking for his receiver that's going down the seam, and all of a sudden Howell comes underneath. He throws it a little bit low, but he ends up coming up with the grab anyway.
He's going to get a whole lot of experience this year. He's a true freshman. Last year, he was playing at Jenks High School in Jenks, Oklahoma, right outside of Tulsa. Tradition-rich high school program. Here's 3rd down. Bowling, good throw and a good catch right near the sticks. Caught by Howell, fully extended.
That's exactly what I was talking about earlier. You make your quarterbacks comfortable, and the way you make your quarterbacks comfortable, when they drop back and throw a pass, even though it's not right on target, you make a great catch, and Bowling did a great job of standing in the pocket and doing that.
They're going to measure. Bowling's a guy that was recruited by Oklahoma, Kansas State, the University of Miami. And he got enough for the first down.
You know, talking to Simmons said these guys have a lot of confidence, and he doesn't want to rattle their confidence. It's just tough when you got to play against a great Nebraska defense like they had the opportunity to play against today. That'll rattle your confidence, but they've got to go back and they've got to get some help with the running game and get some help with some receivers catching some balls and making some big plays.
Bowling runs draw to Fobbs, and Jamal gets to the 50. You came here a couple of times. How tough was it to play here?
Well, it's tough to play here because one thing about it is going to be a little crowd noise. You're going to have that, and they know the right time to make it real loud so you can't hear the plays. They do an outstanding job of that. The other hard thing is they have great athletes here. When I came up here to play, you had guys like Neil Smith and Roderick Thomas playing on defense, Brian Washington. I mean, a great tradition of defensive players, so it's always tough.
Well, the folks up here are just glad that your eligibility is exhausted. Let's go back a few years. Shall we reminisce for a moment, Mr. Jackson?
Oh, don't do me like this.
Jamel Holloway, the quarterback, in 1985, and they're going to run the reverse to the big man. And you know what? If you recall, I know it's a long time ago, but you turn the corner, you go 88 yards. That might have been the longest run in the history of tight ends.
Well, there was another Keith Jackson doing that game, I tell you that. But the great tradition here at Nebraska, those guys cheered for me after the game and shook my hand and told me what a great run that was and what a great player I was after the game.
And they told you, why don't you turn pro? Knocked out of bounds after a first down is Cameron White. Pretty good job by Bowling, showing his athletic ability.
The one thing that you've got to appreciate about these Nebraska fans is they love good football. You know, if you come here and you beat them, usually you get people screaming and hollering at you when you leave and getting gestures. But you know what they do? They say, great game, go ahead and win the Orange Bowl. I remember the years we came here, and they've been great fans. I really appreciate the Nebraska fans.
They're the best. Fobbs gets about 5 or 6 yards. The other thing about Nebraska fans is they always stick around. I mean, they never leave early. Obviously, this game has been decided for a while, but they hang around throughout. Here's our BMW play of the game. Little play action pass, option pass, and Crouch is going to hit Tracy Wistrom, who had a big day catching the football at tight end. That's our BMW play of the game.
I bet you just did that for me, Drew. You just wanted me to feel at home. Tight end catching touchdown.
That's the whole reason. Here's Fobbs, and he gets out of bounds after a first down at the 25. Well, if you're Oklahoma State, you always want to search for positives and correct the negatives. That's what Bob Simmons, I imagine, will do this week.
Well, the one thing you did is you had some penalties, but you didn't fumble the ball. You start looking at turnovers. You took care of the turnovers early. This is just a dominant Nebraska team. So he said, hey, we got rid of turnovers. Now we got to be more aggressive in the running game. We've got to score some touchdowns. Once we get down in the +20, we need to score.
Yeah, they're going to have to find a way to put some more points on the board, obviously, because they have a defense to win with. They're struggling right now to get in the end zone on offense. Over the head of Ethan Howell.
Bowling's putting on a nice display of throwing the ball right now. He made a headed play a few minutes ago, going up to the line and almost stepping over the line, but stepping back and throwing the ball. He looks comfortable in the pocket. You know, they may get outcome the fact that he can sit in the pocket and pocket pass. They don't have to pound people like they think they have to.
to Richardson. And he's out of bounds at the 5-yard line.
Richardson is a nifty runner after he gets the ball in his hand. That's because his punt returning skill. He led OSU with 25 catches last year. He does a great job of just dropping back. You got one-on-one coverage outside. He throws it there, and now you turn into a punt returner. And then just take off and get positive gain and try to get that ball into the end zone and make people miss.
Brown and Fobbs in the staggered eye. Fobbs to the 4, that's all. And right now, the black shirts, a lot of number 2s in there, they're planning for a little bit of pride in that they have not allowed a rushing touchdown in 1999.
And you can believe it's a lot of pressure on him. It doesn't make any difference if it's second team or third team out there. The guys on the sideline saying, we don't want to give up a touchdown, and they want to hold them out. You look at Charlie McBride, I asked him why they call black shirt. He said, because they wore black shirts during practice, so they started calling them the black shirts.
He gets maybe a yard. Jamie Burrow there defensively. And it'll be 3rd and goal. And there's a Cowboy player still down.
Like somebody's in pain. You can see them kicking their legs down there a little bit.
Bill Byrne, the athletic director here at Nebraska, was telling us earlier, one of the things they have on their master plan that's probably a few years down the road is to expand this stadium so it seats in the mid-90s. Right now it seats close to 78,000. The player down is Brian Blackwood, junior tight end from Tulsa. Good player too.
Coaches said about Blackwood, they felt that he was their best all-around tight end as far as catching the ball and as far as blocking at the point of attack. But this stadium, if they put 20 to 30,000 more seats, it still would be a sellout. That's what you call tradition.
Yeah, long waiting list to get season tickets here in Lincoln.
But the one thing that Blackwell does is he block well at the point of attack. The coaches say that. But when you got Nathan Simmons, he's trying to get into the end zone. And those running backs, they'll run up your back every now and then trying to get a positive gain.
Yeah, he got stretched pretty good there. 3rd and goal. Simmons, nowhere to go. Reminiscent of his final carry in the '98 game when they couldn't open a hole for him to get in the end zone.
I tell you what, they play excellent run defense here in Nebraska. You know, when you look at the rich tradition of weightlifting, and as you look at Bob Simmons looking on saying, we're going to stuff this ball down their throat, we're going to score. There's no doubt that he's going to go for it because he wants to get the ball in the end zone. But the weightlifting tradition that's at Nebraska, the fact that they're so strong in the squats and things like that, boy, I tell you what, it makes it tough for them.
It'll be 4th and goal when we come back. 1:56 left.
Hello, honey.
Quarter 38-7. They lead. They'll improve to 5-0. It's 4th down and goal with the football nestled between the 1 and 2 yard lines. Brown and Fobbs, the running backs. Fobbs trying to get to the end zone, and he will. First rushing touchdown of the year against the Huskers. And it's 38-13.
That was a great call. They ran an unbalanced line to one side and actually ran the other way. That was a super call by Ron Cagney. You got so many guys on the right side, and he pitches it to the left. And when you got a guy like Jamal Fobbs and he's running against linebackers, there's no way you're going to catch him.
And Sidness pokes it through. 38-14. We'll return to Lincoln in a moment.
It does not appear to be serious, but right now Blackwood through for the game.
All right, Jim.
It's a great defense sitting there trying to ask each other what happened. Why is there 38 points on the board? Because they are an excellent defense.
They're an excellent defense, but they had to play too many snaps in that first half against a short field. The fullback gets to the 20-yard line, and we can tell you that the executive producers of today's game are Arthur Smith and Bill Borson. The coordinating producer for college football is Roy Hamilton. Today's game has been produced by the doctor, Robert Steinfeld, directed by Ken Miller. Our associate producers, Daniel Ashcraft, who's thrilled to death that his name is mentioned on the air today. And our graphics coordinator, the outstanding Tom Stoner. Vice President of Field Operations, Andrea Jenkins. Euler that time didn't get much. Sean Barry made the play defensively. Our spotter today, all the way from the Big Apple, Chris Shaw. For that man, Rob Ryan. I think he's going to look at this film, and though the final score won't indicate it, he's going to realize his team didn't play that badly defensively. Darren Diedrich had that carry, and here's our Dr. Pepper player of the game, Eric Crouch, 7 of 13 throwing the football. And also effective running the football. On the option, he had 11 carries for 61 yards.
The one thing you don't see in that rushing, Drew, is the fact that he drew the defensive end to him and had 3 pitches to his running backs all day long to score.
Another thorough victory for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. They came in number 6 in the country, and they roll 38-14. And for Oklahoma State, the sophomores, juniors, and seniors won't get another crack at the Huskers because they're off their schedule for a couple of years. Of course, Oklahoma State in the South Division of the Big 12 and Nebraska in the North. They've only defeated Nebraska twice, 1960 and 1961, the first 2 times they played. Let's get it down on the field. Here's Jim Knox with a winning head coach.
All right, thanks, Drew. Coach, you have to be extremely pleased. Complete domination today. Offense moved the ball well against a very stout Oklahoma State defense. Also, the defense played extraordinarily well.
I thought we played particularly well in the first half. Not real excited about our second half play. You know, we need to be able to play 4 quarters. We've stopped ourselves offensively with some penalties. We hurt ourselves a little bit defensively that way, too. So there's a lot of things to work on. But we are 5-0, and I'm proud of the way the kids have certainly given a great effort.
Yeah, it seems like this is a team that appears to get better each game out.
Well, I think that's true. They've really shown progress in a lot of ways. We can be a good team on all phases of it, offensively, defensively, kicking game, but we certainly need to work on some things, and we'll go about that starting Monday.
Okay, Coach, congratulations on the big victory.
Thank you.
All right, Drew, that's the story. 38-14, Oklahoma State goes down in defeat.
All right, Jim, thanks very much. Coaches are always perfectionists.
I tell you what, and those coaches don't smile that much. This has been a great game for him today, and he has a lot to build on. Oklahoma State has to go back and look at some film.
Nebraska will be home to an improved Iowa State team next week. Oklahoma State will be in Stillwater to take on Texas Tech. A thorough victory today for Nebraska, 38-14. The offense did the job on the ground and threw the football exceptionally well also today. And the black shirts were their normal selves. Well, plan to join us next Saturday at a special time, 1:30 Eastern, 10:30 in the Pacific time zone for our next Big 12 football telecast as the Missouri Tigers visit the University of Colorado Buffaloes. Now for Keith Jackson and Jim Knox and our entire crew, I'm Drew Goodman saying so long from Lincoln, Nebraska, where the Huskers have knocked off the Cowboys 38-14.
Won the QB job for the Huskers. Going up top here to Tracy Wistrom. He's not going to score, though. Hauled down from behind on the 2-yard line. That was a 47-yard play. That set up this. On the option, Crouch just about hit, makes the pitch to Correll Buckhalter, untouched into the end zone from 2 yards out. Huskers on top 14-0. We stay in the first, Crouch on the option again. Buckhalter scoring again, this time from 8, 21-0. And then Nebraska just blowing the lid right off the thing here. Crouch faking the option. He's got Wistrom in the corner of the end zone from 16 yards out. That made it 31-0. Nebraska went on to win it 38-14. B.J. Tiger did have a 6-yard scoring pass to Marcellus Rivers for the Cowboys. Crouch completing 7 of 13 for 145 yards and a TD. Carried it 11 times for another 61 yards and another score. Oklahoma and
State, and the Cornhuskers superb in all phases today, really, at least in the first half when they built up the huge insurmountable lead over the Pokes. Already it was 14-0 in the first quarter here when the Husker special teams block a punt. Brian Shaw gets the block and it sets up Correll Buckhalter, or Eric Crouch, I should say, who just walks it in the end zone right there. And then Crouch is going to look for Tracy Wistrom. The Huskers always sneak that tight end open on you.
Well, they run the option, and it opens up the tight end. They are really starting to come together offensively.
And they ran the option to perfection. Here's Buckhalter just waltzing in the end zone. They let up on the gas after building a huge lead. The final is 38-14, but Nebraska in complete control today.